Friends, my name is Supatranai Nopakun, and thank you for joining me here today. A few days ago, Sarah Bowen, our Boeing Vice President for Global Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion, went on LinkedIn Live to address the current racial issues in our country with other professionals in the corporate community. One of the questions that was asked of her was the following: "You are not a member of the African American community, but you've spoken about the importance of being an ally. How can employees be allies?" The answer that she gave was that, first, we all have to ask ourselves, is our society on the right path? If you, like me, answer no to that, then we have to do something to change the course. I find that to be very powerful. In my personal experience as a minority in America, my friends always say, "You don't get the cops called on me if you don't break the law." So, how come my 18-year-old self had to call the police called on me while walking on my own college campus in Wisconsin? The only description was a dark-skinned suspicious person. I didn't do anything. I was a kid at university, finding my own class on my own campus. We obviously lived in two different Americas. And that's the point. Exactly 20 years later, in the middle of June, at the height of the pandemic stress, I was aggressively asked to leave a place of business here in Puyallup, Washington, for being Asian in the COVID-19 environment. I have countless stories between those 2 decades, stories that unfortunately I know I will one day relive with my children if nothing changes. For me, it wasn't that the people that instigated the events that bothered me the most, but rather, it is the lack of understanding, empathy, and acknowledgement of my own friends, coworkers, and family whom I turned to. I didn't have any allies. That's what made me feel sad, isolated, and alone in the world where I thought was my own home. Being an ally really starts with self-learning, a lot of empathy, and active involvement. Black struggle and activism at the height of the civil rights movement was the main reason that drove the end of discriminatory laws and led to the Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1965. The new law finally allowed Eastern Europeans and Asians to immigrate to the United States more freely. The Asian American community online had come out to say, "They helped us, now it is time to help them." We can help amplify Black voices and engage in our own community to raise awareness and to become better allies. My personal fight is to help the politically charged perception that Black Lives Matter is a group that instigates violence, and instead bring people back to see the intended meaning of the movement, and that the vast majority participate in a peaceful protest all over the world. Discrimination is everywhere. What are you doing to fight it? In a discussion with my wife, who is currently serving in the U.S. Army, she told me about a fellow officer she trained with who was not able to go into combat arms due to discrimination against women at the time. The friend said it wasn't because of her lack of trying, but because she couldn't find any allies. Because of the lack of advocacy and support by both men and women in the military, she was held back, and it took another decade for women to break that barrier. In fact, the first female to earn a Green Beret is expected to graduate in July of 2020. What my wife was trying to tell me was that it takes an entire village to change a village. That is what it means to be an ally. Allies are defined by their action. Acting as an ally can be effortful, uncomfortable, and a lot of times exhausting. It's supposed to be. It is how good people fight for justice, equality, and freedom all over the world. It is not easy. Discrimination of any kind, whether it's gender, race, or religion, is a civil rights issue, not a political one. We are at the tipping point of a renewed civil rights movement of our time. What will you tell the next generation that you did?